All right guys, well I just had to do it. I had to take this car and turn it out so we can all have a look at it from about 10 feet away. And aside from looking a little bug-eyed without the forward thrusting headlight shields, that's what they called them back in the day, I am really falling in love with this front end. It's looking sharp. Here we have a piece of tissue paper that I'm going to tape up here so that we can make up a template of this whole opening from center point out. I'm not about to start making little bits and pieces trying to form all this up. This little rollout, I'm going to get rid of it because that's all I see. It looks weird. Probably look better with the front trim ring, but with the direction we're taking it, I want a nice smooth front end. It's going to roll down from the top and just down into here. So at the moment, it's helping hold this wire frame. Later on, once we cut it away and we fit the sheet metal up, that's going to be cut away to about here, and we'll just fit it to the new opening. All right, I need some tape. Tape. You guys see the tape? Oh yes, right here. Thank you. Appreciate the help. Let's get some pieces so we're not fumbling. This tissue paper is not too forgiving. Tapey, tapey. This is a really exciting point right now. Oh, a zip tie. Our zip tie is getting in the way. We may have to get rid of it. Tissue paper front end. You saw it here first at Envision Prototypes. Ooh, that was close. Yeah, see, it's ripping. Oh, it's ripping some more. That's okay. It's ripping a lot more. I don't know if we can get this done. Just gotta be gentle. Soft touch. Now, whoop, geez, easy there. Now, normally what I like to do is not create a joint right on a peak that just, it's counterproductive. You'll end up trying to weld it, first mate it together, then weld it, then finish it, and sometimes, most of the time, you end up with a jog. So what we're going to do is slide right on over. I need more tape. Once we get this all pinned, we can use magnets too, but I'm in the mood for tape. Just like a good grill. Who enjoys a good grill? Throw it down in the comments if you're a meatitarian. What do you guys think of the new cars with no grill opening, you know, a solid panel. We're actually going to be doing a solid panel for this and then cutting holes out. So we get a chance to see what this thing looks like with the front all closed in. This is going to be the tricky part because I need to indicate center line, and we'll cut it off, say, there. That's the edge of the sheet metal. The edge of the sheet metal is going to come up to here somewhere, like that. Roll down around the headlight, come up to here. Come around. And let's just take it and run the piece right off to the bottom here, just so we have enough. Okay. Now, I need to use the dirty finger method. No, I'm not going to use my nose. I'm going to use all this dust on the car. And we're going to trace the rod. I wouldn't pick my nose. Try and run a Sharpie. You saw how kind of inconsistent that is. Is that a word? Inconsistent? Unconsistent? Inconsistent? Inconsistent. That's okay, guys. There we go. I like that. Pardon me while I stand in your way. Come on. What's going on? Oh, much better. Perhaps I should have started at the bottom. That's okay. We'll figure it out. Don't overcomplicate things. It's only sheet metal. Pay attention to what you did, and a lot of times you can back up and undo what you did or make the correction someplace else to fix what you did. Much better. As long as we don't tear the main area. I'm going to use this template for both sides when I transfer it to sheet metal, because there may be a little bit of a variance between that ring and this ring. It was bent by hand, so it's not perfect. All right, so there we have our overall section and our dirty finger outline for the center grill openings and signal light and brake vent. in case we mess up. Say I was making another template. I want this, really doesn't matter which side we start with. We can run this as the passenger side because they're identical. And we have our outline on the right side. So instead of having the seam over here, we'll have it over on this side. And the zip tie, we can get rid of it. Done. Got bolts in. You thought I was kidding about not cutting out the holes for the grill. A little bit of an oil can happening there. Strange. And there we have our convex shape to the grill panel. I might increase this area where the peak is going to be, because that's going to eat up some material after I create the peak. Now, did you notice what I did again with the wheel there at that point? I got the pressure cranked up, and if you guys have been watching me wheel before, when you take a panel and try to jam it into the two anvils with pressure on, it can be tricky. So what I do is I go in on a diagonal, just kind of slide it in. It goes in easy. If you try jamming it in this way, it's hard on your wheel, it's hard on your wrists, it's just not a great practice. So just go in on diagonal and life is good. All right, that's looking good. Blend the top in a little bit here. A bit of crisscross pattern. I'm just stretching the area between the holes that we are going to create eventually. If I cut these areas out and I tried to wheel this, it'd be all over the place. All right, let's wash it out. Cut the pressure down. See that? I can slip the wheel right through. Just cleaning things up. Not much to clean up, but just want to average out any little tracking marks that might be from wheeling this panel. There aren't any really to speak of. All right, let's do the, there. Okay, see the shape? Stays up on its own, we're good. Let's go fit this to the front of the car. I think though, before we do that, we're gonna create our peak. And this is why we didn't get rid of this template, because we're still using it. Like that. Sharpie. And there we have our panel. Roll this around the corner a little bit. Line up our center line. It's going to go right there. Throw a clamp over there, clamp over here. And then we can outline the wire frame. Okay. It's feeling good. Looks a bit weird. The front blank off. No, the old stock cars. Saw some pictures. They took the headlights out, and they put a flat piece of sheet metal or plastic over the end to cover up the hole. Scribe the back of the wire frame. We have some cutting to do. What the heck is that? Ah, sheet metal of that. All right, that's fine. So this sheet metal on this little piece that rolls down, we got to cut that off because it's interfering with me scribing the wire rod. The other thing is we have to blend this panel up into here. Got a little problem. I need a different color Sharpie. It's not a problem per se. What happened, this panel was sticking out past. If I run the same color Sharpie with it in the new position, I'm not going to be sure which is going to be the correct, I won't be sure which is going to be the correct line. So we run blue. Same thing here. They might coincide, we'll see. Yeah, got a nice convex shape happening. That'll be filled in. A little reveal there. It's gonna look sweet. It is out a little further than it should be. That's okay. Once we cut this flange off, it'll settle down. We'll have our peak created. We'll create this piece later on for the bumper, get that up, fitted to the front fascia. I was just looking at this line. I said, whoa, something's off. This side's only this much, that's that much. That's fine. That's just a random hole. so that we can roll the sheet metal in. The actual line is somewhere over here. And we might put either the emblem of the car or make our own 3D printed emblem on the front of this 300i. Look, she's smiling. I'm going to put some witness lines here. Once we cut that piece off, the sheet metal, that settles down, we'll scribe the actual hole and trim away the material that we don't need. See, with this flange here, it sticks out past. So we can wheel this up some more, or we can go to the kick shrinker, shrink this, and that'll come down after we bend it. Done with that. I'll save that for later. A stick. We won't have to do this step for one panel. The other one is fine. Just want enough pressure so the panel doesn't slide out as we're wheeling it. Come on. In you go. Let's sharpen it up a little bit more. Okay, we've got our peak. It feels good. Now, we have a little too much material up here, so I'm going to take and mark off 1 inch, 3/4, somewhere around there. Cut off that, throw it in the kick shrinker, and develop our curve. We're going to shrink it down to get the right curvature. It's actually straighten the panel out. Told you I'd use this again. Now we could have left it on, but it would have added thickness to our panel and would have made wheeling a little bit tricky. Let's run with 1 inch. Good. Don't need very much, just a little bit to give us some curvature. If it's too much, we can pass it through the wheel and re-stretch it. Okay, I'm happy with that. We can now disassemble that front grill opening. All that was for was to get these shapes in the right locations. There's no guessing involved. We can take those wire frames, put them over this, rescribe this again to make sure, and then we can cut the holes out and start forming it. Getting that feeling of deja vu. Didn't we just wheel up a panel like this? want a gripper workout, wheel up some 18 gauge. Okay, now this one is going to be sitting, let's just say at the center point. That's good there. I might end up breaking tape, we'll see. Wow, that's tight. That's nice. I like that. We have our peak established, so wherever this line falls, we'll be cutting a lot of that away. Yes. This time we'll go with blue. Okay, same issue here. This thing is in the way, so that's fine. I got most of it outlined. Let's put some marks. There. So there we have the holes we have to create. We can cut all this apart and cut that off, and then start forming up the passenger piece so we actually have a flange to rest this one on when we fit this one. I want to get rid of that little outward flare. Check that out. Check that out. Check that out. That's the white paint coming off their primer. This is why we strip all our body panels down to bare metal before we ever do anything, because you can't trust that to last. A long time ago I did a favor, and it was a lesson learned. How much you want to bet? I'm not a gambling guy, but how much you want to bet this side comes off the same way? Terrible. Now I can't reuse this. Okay, we'll cut that off. Guess we can use the electric shear, or we can use the manual hand style, wherever that thing went to. Wow. For having so much paint on there, looking good from 10 feet away, it's pretty bad. That's feeling good. A little tight there. I'm going to open that up. throwing the panel a little bit. That seems to be better. It's looking good. If I reach in and clamp that, it'll look better. We'll get some screws into this. That's all I got. That's all we need. This is where it takes all the time, all the prep work. Once you get this done, everything else will fall into place. Yes, very good. I guess we can get some screws in, and I'll scribe it to the hole that we have. What do you think? Now, by rights, this panel should pinch this panel. Just like that. Now what do you think? Okay, let's get some screws into this. Can't really clamp it. And how do we scribe the inside? Do we have to get in through the headlight opening? No. We'll take one panel off, scribe that, take that one off, put this one back on, scribe this one. Well, that looks really cool. One solid fascia. Looks very menacing. Put some teeth on there. Yes, no? Okay. Now that we have the panels pinned, we can start scribing them on the inside to the existing sheet metal. And at that point, we can start forming the holes, the grill holes. Cut the centers out and roll over about 3/4 of an inch flange. And to that flange, we're going to add a piece of material going inward, that way, into the car, to create a kind of a scoop. And in that hole, we're going to put those center bars and signal lights. Not quite long enough to reach all the way down there. Uh-oh, stuck. Can I go any further? Wheel opening? Nope. No power steering in my arms today. And there we have our outline. Wow, interesting. That's okay. Yeah, it's all there. We've got our corners, our points, everything's there. Now I'm not going to cut that off, because if I need to roll this sheet metal on this panel inward. If I cut it off right there, I'm not going to have anything to join to. So we're going to just leave that excess material, cut this out, roll it, and then trim it after. Tasty. Good source of iron. Okay, so there we have everything scribed. What a plethora of lines. This is what I call a Van Dyck. Okay, in this case, we follow the blue line. That's the one we want. In this case here, we follow the blue line. And for the most part, we're going to check this scribe line after, but we follow the blue line all the way around, except for this area, which is the black line. What that is, I have no idea. Or that. Let's get our 3/4 inch tape. I'd like to get one side on. I'm curious. It's getting late, but adrenaline kicks in and keep going. Okay, this is going to bunch up a little bit. We'll fake the corner. No big deal. Now, I don't know if I can get this into the tipping wheel because it is so long. That. Ooh. That one had one too many. This one's going to be trickier. Outside curve is easy, but if we do an outside curve, we got problems. We got some bleeders. See that? Ran under the tape. That's where the creases were. So, we ignore this line. That's nothing. We're going to cut these centers out and roll it around. Now I'm wondering if I can get in the tipping wheel. There's a chance we can. That's going to help us a lot. Hey, worst case, we'll make another panel. Simple as that. It's a pretty tight corner, so to roll that much material, really tricky. So that's why I took that much more out. Well, this panel feels a whole heck of a lot lighter. We need to switch anvils, or wheels I should say, it's not an anvil. Good. And you just need to indicate a center line. Now, to get my tongue straight, I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna be rolling up, and we probably won't be able to get it up all the way. We're gonna get it a part of the ways and finish off the rest with a hammer and dolly. No, I'm not crazy. This is what you call hand-built coach building by hand. Breaking the edge. First pass, is always the most challenging. And are we going to be able to get it through? Probably not. That's what I thought. not a problem. What we'll do is start where we couldn't go. Right there. Right there. I had a feeling. I looked at this side and said, yeah, that will clear, barely. We'll make it clear. It's the other side. As long as I have a reflection line to follow, it's not too bad to roll. There you go. So that is the beginnings of the opening. You see, much larger than what I drew initially. Let's see, can we get this in? Ooh, yeah, maybe. If we move the car a little bit. We're gonna have the same problem, but worse. Yep. Okay, that's enough. Do the rest by hand. Yeah. So we've got to finish this corner, not a problem. Let's start off with the big one, get warmed up with that. And can I maybe do it this way? Yeah, maybe. Let's try it. It's kind of backwards, but see? There's a will, there's a way. That one's that way, this one's this way, this one's this way. Oops, sorry, lift. That's it. Now we do it by hand. Or maybe in the vise over a dolly. Yeah. Let's go find an anvil that suits the situation. Okay, so I've got three variations here. This one I use for creating fender lips. That's why that slug is welded on there. So that one might work. The radius is okay. This one's for corners, to get into corners. It's an old wheel wrench from a classic car. It's probably worth money. And we have this one. I like this radius the best because it's larger and it suits the front of this car. If we do it too tight, it's not conducive to what we want for the grill opening. So we want a nice soft roll in, and this will work for us quite well. Except we gotta go this way. Ends are radius, softened up so they don't create any marks. We don't mar the surface. Okay, shoe hammer. Let's begin. Uh-oh. Wrong way around. See, this curvature is going this way, and this is going the wrong way. That's what we want. Okay, so that's the beginnings. You can see this is rolling in quite nicely. It's not as sharp as that. That was just a start. And we're going to follow this highlight all the way around and roll that flange. So basically just do it. All right guys, we're getting very close with this panel. The corners have to be tweaked a little bit, stretched. I'm not gonna get it all done right now. I wanna take a break from hammering. It's taking a little while to form this up. Just tweaking the edge against the anvil, restoring that little radius that we had initially. Well, we were trying to create. Never had it. That corner is pretty sharp, so that has to be worked yet. This is just one side. We need to make the mirror opposite of this, which isn't a problem. We'll get it done. I've tipped the lower anvil up on a shim, just so I can sneak in a little bit tighter. I'm not sure if you'd catch that if I didn't tell you. Now, a lot of you guys are experts, and you don't have to have me tell you. But for the beginner that's starting out, might not catch that. Okay. Good. Like I said, that corner has to be tweaked a bit. Sneaking it in a bit challenging. Take that out for a second. Drop down. Oh yes, there we go. We'll get this panel just so. Won't be all in one shot. You gotta walk away sometimes for a few minutes. Get your favorite beverage. And then hit the resume button. Okay. Now we have quite a bit of material here. It's gonna wrap around the fender that we don't need. So I'll work this in once. Come on, a little more. There we go. Aha. So there we go. Panel number one. Let's get some screws. 2, 3, and 4. Iron. Tasty. Little treats. That's 2, 3, and 4. It's not fair. You guys get to see it before I do. Come on, screw. now. Well, that has really transformed the front of this car. Oh yeah, the 300i. You see how that's sprung? Yeah, that looks better. We'll get some screws into that. Everything has a process. And I've lost the drill. Where'd you go, drilly, drilly? That wouldn't be something if it whistled back. Bottom can sit for now, that's fine. Just drop these clamps. And there we have, excuse me, one side. Once it's welded to the surrounding sheet metal, then we'll just take a hammer and dolly and refine all these corners, everything here. We will have to create a split here with flanges so we can take the fender off. This will be part of the fender. That's looking good. All right, guys, I'm gonna take a break for a few minutes. When you guys blink, we'll have the other side installed, and then we'll begin trimming it and fitting it to the fascia, getting rid of the excess material down here, and finalizing it, making it part of the new front end. All right, blink. All right, guys, well, I made a little change. Can you spot what it is? Yeah, it's pretty obvious. I enlarged this hole on the driver's side versus what we initially created over here by 1 3/4 inches. Just widened it a little bit. This is a pretty wide car, and to have these little holes, it just didn't look right. This area in the middle looked a little wide. This one, I created it, I love it, and that's what it's gonna be. I walked away from it for about 3 or 4 minutes, and I looked at it, stood back outside the door there, and I was like, no, you can't have that. So got a little Sharpie on here, played around with the curvatures, didn't care for that too much mass here, opened it up, did it, fantastic. Over here, so that the headlights, the forward thrusting headlight shields don't feel alone, we're gonna create a little protrusion, a bulge around the end of the brake vents on both sides, not just one side. Just Sharpie here, so that it extends out a little bit. It'll help the sheet sit a little better because it wants to stay out. So we'll tuck that in, blend it into the fender, have the beginnings of a feature here, and it'll go along really well with the headlights. So I basically have to unroll all this, the flange, and re-roll it, same as that, so it looks balanced. There's the curvature off the hood. It's flowing in really well. And this is not going to be a small flange. This is just beginnings. We need to extend it inward. Okay, let me fix that. And then I guess I'm not doing anything with the bumper. We're going to keep going with this grille. See, this one sits a bit funny too. It's not sitting as comfortably as the other one, as the other side. We only have one clamp at the top and bottom. Here we got a bunch of screws around the perimeter to hold it in place. We got a little pucker happening here. So we open that up, it's gonna sit better. Might pass it through the shrinker too. This one, both of them. This one looks a bit straight. That one, the flange, I actually cheated. I ran with a smaller flange. You can see the difference. This is 5/8. This is 3/4. A little more challenging to roll. All the little details you don't notice until somebody points it out. And this was just an idea. We're not going to do that. We need to maintain some form of mass between the webs so it's balanced. You thin it out too much, you might as well just eliminate it and run a bar through. Maybe, no. We're also going to add turn signal, parking light in that spot. And here's going to be that protrusion, the bulge, so that the headlight doesn't feel out of place. It all has to work together. All right guys, so we got the two panels screwed, clamped, and taped to the front of the car. Taped? Not really. All the tape is doing is indicating we're going to be cutting off this material. Then we'll take and scribe the panels from the inside onto these pieces and cut that off. Line everything up and start tacking. We're that close. Before I do that though, I want to throw that grill bar into here. That's why I've got this socket wrench in my hand. Got the corners finished, these little protrusions to mimic the front headlights. They're not sticking out that far, just a little bit, just to give it the indication of detail. Rolling it around is fine, but just that little bit extra is a nice touch. At least I think so. We are sitting very close. I didn't bother with the bottom screws. So like I said, let's get the front grille in. We're gonna have to take and split this bar in half for now. Then we'll trim it up as per the openings. I need to undo this center bracket. We will reutilize the end brackets. It's all fabricated, all done. We'll just create new mounts. Just think of it as a Chrysler Skunk Works department got a hold of a Windsor and had some fun with it. They'd reuse as many of the parts off the Windsor as possible to mimic the 300i. Well, we're building the i. I don't know what they would build, but we're building the i. And I think 300 with the I from the Envision logo, dead center. Yeah. That wasn't so bad, because this is what we're going to be using. It's the horn. Now, I'm not going to be keeping this tapered end. I just want the horizontal straight sections. And we have a horn in the way. I'm trying to get this down a little bit lower. That. We have to center it within the opening. I have to relocate that horn, not a problem. I just want to take a look at this. I think it'll look better if they don't stick out past the body work. I think if they're set in the thickness, that ½ inch thickness back, that's going to look really good. Maybe I can do, there we go. Wow. They are just long enough. Holy smokes. It's almost as if we planned this. See, it's falling over and I need to block up that end. What can we use? I'll be looking for this tape measure later. Aha, that's what I wanted right there. Close. It's got to come up a little bit. Ah, yes, almost. A little high. Okay. Ooh, I see something. See this radius here? It's not quite what we need or what we have here. I need to roll this a little bit more. Kind of like that. Yes. See the difference? This one is a little bit higher than this one. I guess it's how much I rolled over. If I look on the inside, I'm probably not up to the line where I need to be, so we'll just tweak that. But check out that grill. Me likey. So that's going to be it. I am planning one more little thing for the opening here. Let's leave it as a surprise. Yeah, we've covered enough ground already today. There'll be a signal light that'll be even with this bar that'll run over to in that opening. Driving light, signal light, as well as the brake vent. To have two big holes, I'm liking the bars. If anything, the bars are spaced a little bit too far apart. We might bring them together. So you got to bring this one up a little bit. This one's good. So we need to get that tape measure out, divide that space up into 3 spaces, and then mount the bars. But we're getting closer. Next step is going to be to trim up the sheet metal and start welding it in place. Let's look from the side. See how the bars are set in from the front of the grill, from the sheet metal, from this outward surface. If we brought it out, it would look weird. So, at least in my opinion. What do you think? Should we stick them out or keep them inside? Put it down in the comments. We're not going to be working on the grill just yet. What I am going to do is find out how much material we need. Oh, let's back up. We need to find out how much material we need to create that space inward, that duct, if you will. I don't know what else to call it, scoop, duct, grill opening. It's going to go in. It's not going to just stop here. So I have to find another tape measure because that one's busy, and we'll measure up some material for that hole, and this one, and this one. Okay, so after many hours of fitting, trimming, tacking, refitting, planishing, and welding, we've got the front fascia just about complete. Well, maybe 65% complete. What I was just doing is adjusting the vice grip for this vertical piece so that we have the right angle of approach. I'll bring you in a second to show what I'm talking about. This is going to be blown apart twice. Once to readjust this bottom radius here because it's not quite right. Second time, once we have that corrected, to trim off all the excess material, scribe the flanges, weld everything, finish it. That'll be the second time for the final time. We also need to do the same thing we were doing there with those little sheet metal pieces around these brake vent openings. Much narrower though, we don't have to go in as far. And into that we'll incorporate our turn signal. Now, when looking head on, see this radius here in the corner? It's funneling in, a bit of an angle, but almost straight. When I formed up this bottom piece, I don't want to take it out right now because I just spent some time trying to clamp that piece in, but this radius on this part actually went in that way on an angle. It didn't look right. It makes sense because the air gets funneled in, but after looking at it again, it just looked funny. This one here, it comes up, rolls up, yeah, it funnels air in to the rad, but here, this should be coming in straight like that, see? So we're gonna have to trim this one off, roll it up a little bit tighter, and blend it into this one. And then we have a space here to deal with. But that's just temporary. So this is all gonna come apart. I'll make those changes. And in terms of fitting those grill sections, that's gonna be done at a later date once all this is finalized. Where's the sketch? Okay, and there we have, let's put it over here. The 300, an original 300 with some slight modifications to the areas under the headlights, and the grills on this one. Almost look like a Pontiac, pointy Pontiac, yes, no? So I'm standing in the way of the laser level. You can see that everything is lining up precisely. That bumper was fun to refit. It's off to one side. The core support, everything is straight. This bumper's got a little bit larger space on the driver's side than the passenger side. Playing with that. So we're gonna have to deal with that in another episode. But as for the front fascia, the main section is done. Thank goodness, that was a lot of work. And now what we have to do, this top here has to be adjusted. It's a little bit of a, right there. Not sure if you guys saw it, you might have, but now you really see it, so I gotta fix that. And like I mentioned, these inset areas need to be finalized. Each one rolls into the next. Don't worry about the angles, that'll all be scribed, taken care of. Tacks are a wonderful way of sticking pieces together temporarily. No way to get a clamp in there, so as I'm rolling them, I'm tacking them and working my way around to the bottom, to the top, and then the end piece. So this is a really exciting stage right now. Look from this side. Yeah, see this little reveal here, that little bump that comes out. It's not out and in your face like 3 inches, but it's enough, it's subtle. It looks like it belongs there. Both sides. And we have some more metal finishing to do and all that stuff. Oh, one really important, I have to emphasize that again, really important thing we got to do. How do we separate the front fenders from the fascia? That question has to be answered. We've got a cut line here, a flange to unbolt the original grille from the fender. But what do we do here? We can't leave it like that. We're gonna have to take and slice through here, and create flanges, insert flanges into that space, tack it from the inside, and then finish it so that we can actually unbolt this section from the fender. Once I reinstall the support for the hood latch and the support that holds this in and out, it has to be trimmed up because something was way out of whack before, so I'll have to take care of that. We're going to have this top portion and the bottom portion as one piece. See, that bottom portion I think was separate before. I decided to join it all together and just simplify things a little bit. Oh yeah, and those holes, we need to fill them up. There's 1, 2, 3, 6 holes, 7 holes? 7 holes, yeah, I didn't see there, sorry, 8 holes, there, 1, 2, 3, I can't count. 8 holes we need to create little pieces for, stick them in and weld them up. You just don't take and fill that hole in. It's a pretty big hole. Look at my finger in relation to the hole. You don't just start loading the weld up in that hole. It's, not how you do it. All right, guys, I'm quite pleased as to how that came out. These are the grill sections. I can't get it in there right now. They're too long. Once we have all that complete in there, the flanges fixed so they're not moving around, then we'll take and scribe the ends of these bars, trim them, and slide this in. Let's look from the inside. Those flanges there, they roll down. That's where the bolts are going to go for the center bar mounts. They're going to attach to this here. You just put the bolt in. We have to flip the bottom ones because we can't get to them that way. So we'll put nuts on the back sides of these, remove those nuts that they have welded on right there, and do it in such a way that we can reach in with our hand and put our fasteners in. Fun and games. So that's going to be it for this episode. It was really late last night and I just didn't have it in me to get on camera. I was done. So this morning I thought I'd just wrap things up, show you guys where we are with this front fascia, front grille, and I guess we can move on to the bumpers next. So thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Until next time, take care. If you're a recent subscriber to our channel, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And if you're new to our channel and you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It helps us out a lot, and you guys can check out more of this madness. Now on to the bumpers.